students are struggling and you've exhausted the potential information from the DRA kit, where should you turn? Here are some potential other screeners to give you more information and help you dig down to the root causes of why a student is struggling and what supports they may need in place. Thinking back to our analogy of being investigators, we are going to give you some information about how to know where to dig for clues, and when you have readers who are struggling or readers that are doing well, and you may want to make sure that you are providing the right instruction for them to continue on their forward progression. Remember that the initial DRA you completed provided you with clues. You may have also used the word analysis and some other DRA tools to help you discover what the root cause may be. For the next few slides, we will give you some information to help you better decide what tools you could use to help you dig deeper, depending on what might be causing the reading behaviors displayed during the DRA test. The first thing to spend some time thinking of is your own knowledge and observations of the student. Do they have a lot of life experience and exposure to different topics, giving them a lot of background knowledge? This is very important in order for students to be able to read well. Another consideration is whether or not they have speech or language difficulties, as this can significantly impact reading and comprehension. Another important factor to take note of is if students are using compensating strategies, such as looking at the picture, guessing based on the first sound, using context, skipping the word and going back later, instead of being able to decode the words. Having taken the time to think through what you know of a student, we will now begin our look at the typical causes for a missing skill. 95% of students are cognitively able to become fluent adult readers when given the right instruction. To give that right instruction, we need to know what root causes for lagging and missing skills are. This is a wonderful visual representation of the strands that lead to skilled reading. Skilled reading being the final outcome of reading instruction and practice, which is fluently reading and comprehending what is read. The items on the left side of the illustration are the pieces that are necessary for a reader to become skilled. These are root causes for reading difficulties. These are the items we want to dig down to based on the clues we have identified in our readers. You will notice that there are two main categories, language comprehension and word recognition. These are the two categories that all root causes are boiled down to. We need to discover which of these two areas are missing pieces and target our instruction to that. Over the next slides, we're going to share a general framework to guide you in deciding what the likely root cause of a reading struggle is. If the lagging skill, or clue as we've been calling it, is in decoding, the most likely cause for this struggle is that the student is missing some phonological awareness and/or phonics skills. If the student is using a lot of compensating strategies to read, the likely cause is the same as for decoding. They struggle to decode, so they compensate. Therefore, the missing skill is likely in the area of phonological awareness and/or phonics. If these two areas are intact and not the cause for a reading struggle, the next possibility is that the student has become reliant on their compensating strategies, likely because they have found them effective in the past, and even though they are no longer working, they haven't developed strong decoding skills to use while they were using those compensating strategies. So these students need to be retrained to use phonics, and as they grow, they will also need to learn about syllables and morphology. If a student is struggling in the area of fluency, the student is likely missing phonological awareness and/or phonics. You may be noticing a trend here. The clues are all leading back to the same root causes. If the knowledge of these two areas is intact, we can move a little farther up the rope to the increasingly automatic portion. They have the root skill in place, but it's not yet automatically available to the student. And you can see that in the illustration with the arrow drawing that the strands are starting to weave together and they're working on becoming automatic. If the clue you've noticed is a weakness in comprehension, this has the most possibilities for a root cause and requires the most investigation. Reading comprehension occurs on the right side of the illustration. It is the final outcome of skilled reading. It's not the cause of a reading struggle. Therefore, there are likely two causes for weak comprehension, the two sections on the left side of our rope, language comprehension or word recognition. If you find that the student has these two areas intact, it may be that the automaticity of this knowledge isn't in place yet, the blue circle you see. You will often find that the root cause falls in the word recognition area, as it is incredibly difficult to focus brain power on comprehending when we are working so hard to read the words. The other very strong possibility is that the student has a lack of content knowledge in the area of language comprehension. It is very difficult to comprehend a topic we don't understand. Comprehension is something we naturally have in place. Think of when we have conversations with one another. We are continually processing and understanding and responding. That 5% that will struggle with learning to read are noticeable in this area, as they often struggle with interpreting, processing, and responding in conversation. But the remaining 95% will have the ability to comprehend during conversation and discussion, as long as they have the knowledge of the content. Once you've identified the root cause, you are ready to plan for instruction. Creating groupings based on root causes gives you a very specific topic to work with students on. You can create or use a systematic sequence to work through the elements of the root cause and know which skills to teach when. You will have the information you need to decide how students should work on their root cause. Maybe they need phonics instruction to work on automaticity and blending of sounds. Maybe they need to work on phonological awareness or building background knowledge, including their vocabulary. Knowing the root cause gives teachers the confidence to know exactly what to work on with students, monitor their progress, and tweak and adjust based on progress. As mentioned earlier, knowing the root cause allows you to create personalized goals that target the exact skill a student needs to work on to improve their reading. Using the DRA as a gateway to discovering root causes will allow you to create personalized programming for your students, and will see all of your students making progress with their reading.